Alright, Shalom, praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Harakah Kadash. God want to see apostles and elders, great most of the whole world. Shalom to the brothers to the right side of the truth. Just kind of wanted to go into an article where it's talking about, how the discussion of a pandemic is coming up. We've had in the last 2-3 weeks to a month, the discussion around C19 come up again. There's the new strains, but this guy's basically talking about how with technology developing how it is, it's going to become much easier for a pandemic to take place, and that's something as well that was mentioned before by what was it? Bill Gates mentioned it. Something where he said next pandemic it might hit on a different level. So, we'll keep an eye out and see what it shakes down to. I got this on the Daily Star. So it says AI chief warns deadliest pandemics ever on horizon with genetic engineering. It says one of the biggest threats facing the planet is a super pandemic. One of the biggest threats facing the planet is a super pandemic, warns a co-founder of Google DeepMind AI technology. Mustafa Suleyman is the billionaire co-founder of the company's giants DeepMind. No, the computer giant DeepMind, but warns it's not robots that pose the most dangers to mankind. He claims the ability to cook up a deadly pandemic at home is likely to become commonplace before the end of this decade. And it's these are things that aren't really being spoken about, but then it makes you think. That lines up with what happened with C19. Well, I remember from the beginning, from when it happened, they said the shit came out of a lab. Then it was you're getting zapped and nuked off YouTube, or any social media platform really, if you even mention that. And now once again it's kind of returned, it's come back in vogue to mention it. So it's with essentially these things happening, it's kept under wraps until it's time for that vibe to go out. And it's funny because pretty much everything that's been happening is related to AI. When you talk about weapon systems, there's weapon systems where they're talking about missile technology, missile defense technology, how AI is going to impact it. Talk about internet security, it's the big thing with computing has been quantum computing. They're AI might be able to get to quantum computing, then all forms of security before that have no, basically are going to be inconsequential. So it's essentially trying to attain some form of a sense of godhood through technology, and that's been the MO of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Since he's come into power, he's essentially been trying to instate himself, as a power man, as a god on earth. And technology ties into that heavily. It says what Mustafa says that in the next 5 years or so, a kid in Russia could download the instruction set for a pandemic that's more lethal than anything we've encountered so far. He told the Diary of a CEO podcast, that's where we need containment. We have to limit access to tools and know-how to carry out that kind of experimentation. And that's not just going to end with just this particular set of information. There'll be a general application of okay, we're going to strict what you're able to access, because it ties in as well with things like the dark web. There was a story about what was it called? The FBI, or was it CIA? I think it was the FBI. These guys had were running sites to basically trap people in on the dark web. So it's like all these different forms of technology. They're now looking to bring them in, essentially into the fold. But with the dark web, what makes that run is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is still, what's the word? Decentralized. Because it's decentralized, they can still go untracked. But then when you got CBDC, then it comes under the fold. Then these different technologies is essentially going to be, allocated to certain companies to, to research and invest in. Then it's like, if we're going to work with it, you have to work under the fold. So that's all basically coming together. So that's all going to work towards the agenda of those in power. It says what we really are experimenting with dangerous materials. Anthrax is not something that can be bought over the internet. That can be freely experimented with. The very best of these tools in a few years' time are going to be capable of creating new synthetic pandemic pathogens. And we have to restrict access to those things. So lo and behold, it's about control. And then the thing is as well is when they mention these things, it might not get traction. As soon as something happens, then just like with the pandemic, with the lockdown, it kicked off, it started to spread, and they were just like, now we're locking it down. Never before seen levels of powers were exercised at that time. So with, them mentioning something further, and you never know. It can easily pop up. You have one or two cases, it hits one city or one town, and they're just like, okay, now we know what we need to do. I'll read this. Ezekiel 28:2 says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High Power, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art man, and not God. Though thou set thine heart as a heart of God. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, there is no secret that they can hide from thee. Again, I'm in the middle of something, bro. I'm in the middle of something.
About the Bible.
Bro,
About the Bible.
What's it stuff?
I mean, it's about the Bible.
I'll read it again. Huh? So it says, Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from thee. Yeah, so wiser than Daniel. We've been given levels of wisdom that have not been in the time of Daniel. There were things that were broken down to him where it made him sick on his bed. They were breaking down future political structures that were going to come on the scene. Those, he was sick on his bed. But now we're in a time where we have understanding. And then what the current rulership has understanding of far outstrips that. They're able to go into and basically synthesize, levels of destruction that haven't been on the scene before. They're able to put together levels of weaponry that weren't able to be seen in the ancient world.
Oh, we did.
So when you deal with like a nuclear warhead, that's a superhuman level of destruction, man.
Oh.
If they'll go to the ancient world and drop one of those, people would think it was spiritual power. So now that's what he's sort of able to do.
I'm listening to you.
So that says what with thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So yeah, the thing that's come with that understanding is what? It's pride. And that haughtiness is tied into why the judgment's going to take place.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, I know
Says
what
what?
you're saying.
What am I saying?
You're saying that.
Do you pray?
Go and
Manifestation.
Therefore, thus saith the Most High Power, because thou hast set thine heart as a heart of God. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. They shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Yeah, so regardless of a level of wisdom, level of greatness, you're able to bring yourself to, the foes are still going to be brought up against you. And regardless that, that state that you're striving for, it's not going to be
They're holding their
achieved.
babies up.
Because as far as for now, it's like what people are looking
Holding their
at.
babies up to the window.
And it says, like they say, it's like who's able to make war with him, man? Dealing with a beast, they're like, who's able to make war? Because they're seeing capabilities that are on another level.
Yeah.
I'll read this.
I'm just saying, you enjoy the drink, being with women, that's not bad.
I'm not with them, man.
That's not bad.
Joy is not bad.
And we love it.
Revelation 6
Oh,
and
you're
3.
very good pal. I thought you were going to say, go on, do that.
And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him, and that sat thereon, to take peace from the earth. And then they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So yeah, that's sword, that ability to take peace from the earth. And that's why what he's basically going to be bringing through mass amounts of destruction. And that's really what he's able to do on a scale that's never before seen. We're dealing with levels of technology, whereas they're saying it's
We're just talking about it.
If you're looking to
essentially an ultimate form that's come to take place on Earth. But then when you do it, how it's being used. It's being used as a form of destruction, man.
Yes.
Even something where it's like, car, where it's actually out doing a horse. When you do a horse, that's working with the nature. But then the cars, what they do, they're bringing mass amounts of pollution, destruction. People need to construct roads which could decimate different habitats. And then you put that together. You speak like, was it even worth the cost? But that's people are looking at it like that's a blessing. Read this, Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And except those days are shortened, there'll be no flesh to be saved. Because with all these technologies, with all this that's been developed, all these capabilities, what do we have on the wires, man? World War III, a nuclear war. You got Russia-Ukraine conflict, where nukes are in the mix. Then when these when these things get let loose, it's a whole different level of destruction, man. You go to Isaiah 9:5 and say, confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this one will be fuel of fire. It's going to be a whole different scale of destruction. And with Esau at the helm, that's what he's blessing it, to bring that different destruction. I'll read this, Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me, before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. Yeah, these are the things that have been prophesied of from the beginning, and those are the things that now we're in the midst of. That's what Esau's able to do at a whole new scale through his technology. Supreme levels of war and of evil and of pestilence. This guy's able to keep extracts of various diseases and have them in a form where they can still be active and utilized as a weapon. And that's something that was recognized as soon as the capability came about. Then it was one of those things that was in like the Geneva Convention, where they're basically setting the parameters of how war is going to take place. Because why? They saw they had the capability to do legendary amounts of decimation. But that's the thing, is dealing with what you could GAD in the Americas, the smallpox blankets. Hey, that's one of the earliest examples of how much that can decimate places. So again, what we're looking at is that's Esau's MO. So it says what? The prophet which prophesied of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord Yahweh truly said it. So yeah, that's the thing. These things have been spoken of And now we're in the midst of seeing those things be fulfilled, and we know, hey, that's a true word that's come out. And it then lets you line up with who Esau is, what it's rolling, and the time we're in. All those things come together. So I hit this. So 2 Thessalonians 2, let's start from 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that they shall not come except there come a falling away first, and a man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Yet a man of sin be revealed. That's something that wasn't taking place until what? Until now. Until we're in the very tail end of the end, man. Because it's been the end days for the longest, but now we're right at the end of the end days. Where every prophecy is getting ready to be fulfilled, where we can see that's about to manifest. So it's all lining up. Everyone's taking their role. Because you have people in the land calling themselves, stating that they're Israel, but when you deal with prophecies, it's plain as day who it actually is. You actually deal with the words of the scriptures, you find your answer that way. Because what's it say? Who opposes and exalts himself, but all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So that's essentially what we're seeing. We're seeing Esau utilizing these different miracles he's putting together. And then what's he trying to show? He's trying to show he's the Most High.
I know he's
So I get this.
number one. Number one.
Huh? Oh, yeah. All good, man. Wait, give me a sec. I'm almost done. I'm doing a video. I'm recording a video, man.
Yeah, no,
It's,
come in now. I'll talk to you.
what, in the video right now? No, let me finish. Let me treat it about 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because I'm putting a lesson together. It's like, I can't just cut out.
Sorry. Each wants to make a video, that's it.
So I'll read this. Revelation 13.
Believe in the Lord. Believe in the Lord.
So Revelation 13 and 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles they yet the power to do in the sight of the beast. So yeah, through those miracles, through that all that capability, that's what really enraptures people's minds. That's what people look at. They'll be like, damn. They'll go back to his, why you got the movie Oppenheimer, going into the whole history, origin of what you call it, the atom bomb being put together. Because why? People are enamored by it. People are enraptured by it. It captures their imagination. Because that's part of Esau's old mythos. That's part of his whole mythos of how he basically is established himself in the current time. So what he's deceiveth those dwell on the earth by the means of the miracles which he has the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live. Yeah, everyone's basically in a state where they're wandering after worshipping that beast. They're looking at it like, yo, this is it, man. This is what we got. They're dealing with America like it's the pinnacle of civilization. So to go back, in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5, it says, remember ye not, when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, and he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now left until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, and with all power and signs and lying wonders, That's really the bedrock of it. These things that it's like what AI has been spoken about. It's essentially a means of equivalent of like spiritual power, man. Being able to achieve things by spiritual power. You'd be like, oh, if you put something together, you just give it a prompt, then you're getting like a whole essay, you're getting a whole movie script. You know, you're getting a whole picture, you're getting a whole video deconstructed from one thing to represent something else. It's essentially a supreme level of capability of what Esau's technology can do. But that's the thing, it's got a purpose, it's going to fulfill that, but Esau's not able to basically be as a Most High, man. That ain't going to happen. He's basically got his role to be that destroyer, man, to be that red horse. Verse 10, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them, that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. For this cause, the Most High shall give them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, and that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, by pleasure and unrighteousness. And yeah, that's the line basically being drawn. Those who are going to stand with Esau, and those of the elect, but those who stand with Yahushua. It's going to be a very small number when compared to people on the planet that stand with Yahushua as opposed to with Esau. Because again, it's like everyone out here, they're all caught in the spell. But whatever Esau achieves is still within the bounds of prophecy, man. He's fulfilling his role. And there's the end for him is not the rule, man. His end is destruction, man, and then the kingdom after. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Shalom. Shalom.